Okay, so we have page set 1 here. We're going to work on the front side. So you need to select your pattern papers and go ahead and cut them. So I have cut for this front of this flap. I'm going to use the back side of this paper with the basket and the bird nest. And you need one for the front. So this is the first one we're going to work with. You need one that is cut at 4 3/8 wide by 9 3/8 tall. So I do cut mine 1/8 off the width. So for example, so you can do this on all the, or you can change it if you want, if you rather have a wider margin. But this area, and let me put this piece of paper in here so that you can see the flap better. Okay, so this flap is 4 1/2. So when I cut it 1/8 of an inch, my mat, my pattern paper mat, I make it 4 3/8. And then of course the length of the flap is 9 1/2, so I make that 9 3/8. So this is what I have cut here. Now I can go ahead and put this one on because the magnet, I have a magnet setting here, will not go on this piece here. And as I said before, I am not inking this because I'm using the lighter color gray here. So I'm taking my art glitter glue, if I can pick up my piece of paper, and I'm just going to mat the back side of this piece of paper. I am using the fine tip on my glue bottle to control the thickness of the glue. You don't want a whole lot of glue that's going to make it warp or anything. So then we're going to line this up. I'm using this to help me see, making sure I'm just on this flap, and it's a very narrow margin at the bottom and on both sides. And then I use my scraper to really burnish that, and if you see any glue oozing out, go ahead and take that off, wipe that off. Okay, so we have that. Now then, this piece here that we made and folded in half is going to go here. And then we need to determine exactly where we want to put it. You can put it more to the top, more to the middle, like this. Down lower, I'm going to kind of put it kind of off center, maybe a little bit, like right below that little bit of basket there. And then for this piece here, I've cut one piece for the front. And this one measures 4 1/8 wide by 4 3/8 tall. So it's going to fit right there. Before we do all that, we want to do some ribbons, some tie closures, and of course the magnet's going to go on the back of this piece right here on the back. So just have to stop and think. Now I did for the back side of this one, this is going to be glued down, but you're going to have some of it here on the back that sticks out. So this is the piece for this back side, and that's where the magnet's going to be. So this piece here is cut 1 7/8 wide by 4 3/8 tall. And I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to place this on here where this should be, the margin. And I'm just going to put a little mark right here so I know where to put the glue right in this area. Okay? All right. Now, let's go ahead and attach this piece down onto the front. I want to use the butterflies. Such a pretty color in the butterflies in this image. And you just have to, for your own personal likes, if you're using this collection, you can use the same patterns and choices I did, but you may like something better, or you might be doing the actual mother or grandmother album. And so you choose the images that you like from this collection to do your album. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so I cut a piece of this darker ribbon that is How long did I cut that? Because I like to be able to tie it. That's 12, 24, about 30 inches. So it's quite a bit of ribbon there. Now that, of course, if you don't want to use all of that, you could just cut it, but I'm going to leave it whole because that's just the way I like to make sure it doesn't pull out. So if you're trying to conserve your ribbon, well, that's fine. So I'm going to put a piece of score tape here on the back. I need to remark my line for my glue. That. Okay, I'm going to pull this off. And I'm going to divide it in half pretty much, and I'm going to place this over that score tape on the back. And then I'm going to tie a knot in the end, on each end, because I just tie the knot and then I trim it, and I'll let that, where it's been trimmed off, ravel out. Okay. And then as you see, this pulls up, and it's going to tie right here on the front. And I like to have plenty of tail, you know, to tie my loop, and then let it pull down, hold down. And if I need to make one, you know, change the size of one, and then I do that afterwards. But this looks pretty good. So that's going to be like that. This side could have been a little bit longer. There we go. This one here, and make this loop a little shorter. And so I will probably just making a little adjustment here on the length. Not a whole lot. And just tie the knot again up towards the bow a little bit more, not maybe just half an inch or so. I don't know. See, so you don't want it. You want to keep it kind of long, or about the same. So it's just a little bit more than what I had, a little bit shorter, and then I trim that off. Okay, so that's that closure on that. So that's going to glue there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put the glue on it. I'm just cautiously thinking. I'm going to have a loop, pull up loop here. So this is the lighter seam binding that I received, and it's just a small piece, about 2.5 inches, thereabouts. And it's going to glue on the back side as well. And I'm going to do that more to the top, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back, drop it down a little bit because it's going to be covered by paper, pattern paper, so I want to make sure that the end is within the pattern paper, so like that. So about 3/8 of an inch in. Then I put another bit of glue right on the ribbon, and then I'm going to fold and match those up, and that gives me a loop pull. So we're going to let that dry for just a bit. Okay, so that's dry now. So we're ready to put this onto this flap. So we've got the glue markings. So I'm going to put glue right along that line. Over this whole section here where I labeled glue. Right onto that ribbon as well. Put a little extra right there. Okay, so we look at it. We're going to see where we want it on this flap. Like I said, about there. I'll drop mine down some, and I'm going to look at it back here and then make sure I'm moved it to where it's covered, where I had it marked, and then I will straighten it here on this side. So now we have it in, and we're going to burnish it. Make sure it stays. And then when this lifts up, it's going to look like that. Now we have to do the magnets next. So we're using one set of the large basic gray. I have a plus and a minus, and I put them together, the metal to the metal. We got the paper, the minus and the plus on each side. And this is going to attach to this flap that's closed, see here? And we're going to put it out in the center, and we want to scoot it over so that it is got plenty of room on the edges for the paper to cover. So it's about 3/4 of an inch. And I didn't mean for it to go on the ribbon. So what I'm going to do is, because that ribbon's there, we don't want it pulling up. I'm going to put a piece of clear tape, Scotch tape, or whatever you might have, right where that magnet's going to go, and push that down really good. And I'm going to go ahead and push that on there. I should hold it. And then pull the minus backing or the plus, whichever one, it doesn't matter. Pull your backing off. And then you're going to close this down and press. And I'm going to lift up the whole piece. The magnet should be there. So I'm going to put a piece of clear Scotch tape over both magnets now. Kind of seal them in. Okay, now we can put our pattern paper on this back, this one, this flap, and the inside. We can finish the whole thing off. So we've got all our attachments on. So this one here is going to fit right in here over the magnets. So I'll put my glue on. And then go ahead and put some glue on the magnet here on the tape. Don't want anything to pop up. So put this one on. My bone folder. And burnish. Okay, there's that one. Okay, so that closes up like that. It keeps the flaps closed. And then you just pull this to open up the whole piece. So then this one goes here. I'll put this brown piece of paper back underneath. Makes it easier to see where we're putting things, lining things up. So we go ahead. Glue fell over. Got on my computer, so let me clean that off real quick. Okay, so we put glue on this, the side. I'm using again the back side of the paper, or the B side on this section. So go ahead and get the glue on. Put glue on the magnet. And then we put this on. Okay. And burnish. Especially right around that magnet. Okay, and then all the paper. Such pretty paper. If you haven't ordered it yet, check it out at countrycraftcreations.com. This is the Mother's Day collection. And of course, you do not have to use it for Mother's Day. So So I've cut this one. I'm just making sure I don't need to trim it down some. So we put it right here. We don't want it over the fold. You know what? I'm going to trim just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit off. Let me get a trimmer. So 9 3/8. So I'm going to just double check. Get a little sliver off. That would work better. Let's see. Right there, right there. Yeah. So this is a pretty big piece, so work fairly quickly with your glue. Get it on all the edges. And some in the middle. And then let's go ahead and get this one down. Okay. These roses are just beautiful. Let me see. On this piece, maybe I need to move this down a little bit. I don't know. Okay. Here we go. And now the side pieces. And I'm putting this one over here with the flowers in the corner and this one over here. There we go. Kind of like I said, we're just working on getting the pattern paper on, the magnets, and the closures, like the ribbons and things right now. So that takes the whole thing up. Then you untie this one to open this flap. Oh, inside here we're going to put mats. So I have cut 2 out of the, what is this? Let me pull this label off so I'll have it for later. This is the My Colors cardstock from Country Craft Creations. This one is the charcoal color. Okay. So I did cut 2 of these mats, and they are 4-inch, about 4-inch. Let me double check that. Yes, 4. Do I have 4-inch? Oh, that's a different one. 4-inch by 4 3/8. Sorry, 4-inch. 2 of these 4-inch by 4 3/8, and they're going to fit right in here. Now, if you want to do something to your corners, you would do that first. So I'm going to grab, I think, the scallop. Mine is a scallop and a stub, so I'm going to use a scallop on this mat, and I'm going to do all 4 corners. So whatever punch you have, or you could just simply round the corners if you wanted to, or you could leave them square. It's up to you. And now we're going to go ahead and get these glued in. Since I have them cut, we might as well glue them in. This goes beautiful with this and gives just a very pretty contrast. Oop. I think it'll be okay. Art glitter glue does dry clear, so we're going to see. I put it on the wrong side. I wanted the texture side showing. So pay attention to that on your My Colors. You have a smooth and a more textured on one side. So we're going to see how that works. If it doesn't work, then I'll have to cover that up. Okay. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to tie it back up. And that is page set 1 on the front. For the back side of page set 1, I have cut my pattern papers and then I'm marked in pencil where different elements need to go before I add the pattern paper. So let me move some of this so we can see where we're going to be. Now I think the first thing I'm going to do, so I'm going to show you, this is the front page set 1. Make sure you flip it over so you've got it the right direction. We don't want to make any mistakes. I'm going to open this up. So your main section on all of these are the same. So it's 9 3/8 by 9 3/8, and all your page sets are going to be the same. So this is the one that I chose for this one. So I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to go ahead and put this big one down in the center. The magnets don't go down in this section. So we're good with that. Get your glue all the way around the edge. And then some in the center. Okay, and then go ahead and put this down within these flaps. Just make sure that it's going on straight. The top here, the bottom, and not over your fold line. Go down just a little bit here. Okay. These bigger ones are harder to, at least for me, to get even. Okay, make sure that's right. Okay, so I'm going to burnish it down. Okay, so I wrote here on this front flap magnet, and then on this flat attachment that we put down, I wrote ribbon pull and then magnet on the back side of that. So we're going to pattern this strip here first. And I cut out this one, the bit of lace here and some roses. And so this is 2 3/8 wide by 9 3/8 tall. So you actually cut 2, so I have another one ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and glue this one on because our flat piece attaches over the pattern paper. So this is a real narrow flap here, but we extend it with that little flat piece that we add on. So just want to make sure got it centered right. Okay, burnish that down. Now this piece of cardstock that we cut before and didn't score, it doesn't have a score line. This is an 6.5 by 6. So the 6.5 is what goes sideways because this is 6. So we match it up like that. Now I have cut my paper for the back side of it. Let's see here. Get all my pattern papers mixed up, which is one of these, like this. Now I'm not ready to put it on. I'm just marking my glue line with my pencil. So I marked my pencil line for the glue for this, where it goes onto the back side. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this flap down. So I put the glue from this line over. So just run a line of glue. Get some on this flap. So we want to attach this down. So we're going to need to line this up. Let's see where my glue line is, about right there. And when it's nice and straight with this flap here, hold it up, look at it. raise this up and then kind of rub off any of excess glue here on the back and then erase my pencil mark if it shows. Okay, right there. Okay, now then, we can go ahead and put the magnet on this because it's going to go here on the front of this one and the back of this one we just attached. So separate the magnets. I'm going to pull the paper backing off of one. I'm doing it on the plus one. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to put it about in the center, about where I have it marked here. And then my clear Scotch tape I'm going to put on here. And then I'm going to attach the metal to the metal. Pull the paper backing off. And then we're going to attach it down to the flap. And then we're going to lift it up. And we'll cover this one. Okay. Okay, so we have that. So let's do the ribbon pull next. So again, about 2.5 inches. And instead of putting it on the front, I'm going to put it on the back in the center because I think that will give it more stability. So I put glue kind of in the center here on the edge. Glue one end down. Make sure I've got it straight. Then I put glue again. And then I'm going to fold this ribbon in half, matching it up inside, kind of straightening it up, and then let that dry. So that gives us that ribbon pull. If you think it's too much of a loop, just resize it a little bit before it dries. So I pulled it down a little bit more and press it down. Okay, so that is a ribbon pull for that flap. Okay, so we have our magnets on and our little pull tab. So let's go ahead and put, let's see, I like that one and also like that one. Decisions on the pattern paper. So this piece here to go over this one is 4 5/8 wide by the 5 7/8 tall. I just need to look at it and decide which one I want on that. Let's see here. This piece here is the back piece. It's going to be this one. Whoops, it's upside down. So that goes there. And then I think I'll put that one there. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these down. This size here is one we already cut. It was, I think I gave you the measurements, 2 3/8 by the 9 3/8. Yeah. So let's go ahead and put those on. Like right here. Just pay attention to your directions so you're not getting anything, you know, lettering upside down that you don't want to be upside down. Burnish that. And then this one over here, and it's going to go over the magnet. So I'm going to put some glue right here on the magnet, maybe a little bit on that ribbon. And then I'll go ahead and put it here on the back. This piece. Get the direction I want it to go. That's right there. Okay, and you burnish it down. Make sure you burnish over your magnet and the ribbon pretty good. Make sure they stick down. Okay, so there's that, like that. And then we have this one here. So I don't need the ribbon pull on this side. I wrote it on the front, but decided to put it on the back. Here on this front, I cut, whoops, 2 pieces. Now, This can be a solid piece. On the cutting guide, it says, let's see, it says, I'm looking at my notes. I think that's 7 3/8 wide. Let's see, no. No, it should be 6 3/8 wide by 5 7/8 tall. So I took that one off the guide because I'm going to paper piece this one. And this is going to go like here. So let's take a look at it. Like that. And then like that. So I paper pieced these two. So I cut one at 1 3/4 by 5 7/8 tall. And then this one is the same as on the inside, 4 5/8 by 5 7/8. So that is on your cutting guide. So this one's going to go right here on the front. So anytime you want to look in your scraps and piece together. Now I did say 1 3/4 on this other piece, but after I put this one down, I'm going to look at it and adjust it. I think I cut it a little bit bigger to make sure that I had plenty. I almost put my lettering up upside down, so it's got to go this way. Well, I like that rose on the side, but we got to make sure this lettering in here is right. Don't want it to look funny. Okay, so I'll burnish that. So this one I cut 1 3/4 wide, and it is going to work. So I wasn't sure, so I thought I might have to adjust that, but that works just fine. So we put the glue on that. So what I was saying is anywhere, like this one, I did give you the pieced paper sizes, but say like, for example, anywhere else a bigger flap you want to piece, well, then you would just have to adjust the measurements and get that the way you want it to be. So that one's like that. Okay, and so that lifts up. We need to put this one down and then one other. So this one's going to go here. This is the bigger piece. This is 7 3/8, I believe. Yeah, 7 3/8 by 5 7/8. So that's going to go right there over that magnet. And it gets really hard to decide which side of the pattern paper to use, I know. But don't fret about it too much. Use the ones that you like. It's going to all look beautiful together. Even the back side with the front. Whoops. You know, some of it's the front side and some of it's the back side, and that's just fine. It all looks wonderful. So there's that one. We burnished that really good. The magnet here. And then we're going to flip this back, and we have this piece cut that same size, that 7 3/8 wide by 5 7/8 tall. So that goes on the inside like that. Yeah. So put the glue on the back here. Okay, and we put it right there. Pretty, pretty. Okay, so there's page set 1 with the back side. And then I also cut out of the Polar Bear white. My colors, it's a real shimmery, real pretty shiny. I cut out a photo mat. And that's supposed to go right in here. Or you could put it wherever you want. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right here. This is cut at 4 by 4. It's on your cutting mat. And then I scallop punch the corners. So I'm just doing this to show you, a mat or two, add it in, and Of course, you could adjust this if you needed a different size photo, that would be fine. So it's going to cover up that really big, pretty rose, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in right there. Okay. And then we close this down. And there is page set 1. Very pretty. And it all flips up and it's got the magnet holding it shut so that when it's in the album, it's not going to be flopping around. Okay, so next we'll be working on page set 2. Page set 2, making sure that my opening is to the left, the front of it has these 2 top and bottom flaps. So I'm going to open it up first. And I cut this piece for the 9 3/8 by 9 3/8 for inside the main section here. So I'm going to go ahead and put those down. Okay, let's line this up. Make sure I'm not going over the fold of my flaps. And then also when it's centered side to side, same amount of margin, whoops, of the paper on each side. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. Do this one a little bit there. Okay, go ahead and burnish it down. Okay, now we're going to close this up. So I've already penciled in magnet here, magnet on this inside bottom, and the ribbon pull. So I have my magnets. I'm going to put this one, about 3/4 to 1 inch, probably 1 inch centered. Let me scoot it over a little bit right there. And then I'm going to pull the backing off and close up my flap. Yep, go ahead and take these notes, sticky notes off. Okay, let's grab these clear cellophane tape. Can't even say it right. Cover those up. Okay, and then I want to put my ribbon pull, so it's going to go on this front flap down here at the bottom. Center it with glue. And double this up to make a loop. Okay, there we go. Now we're ready for the pattern paper in those. I'm going to let that dry for just a second and check all my different papers here. So I do know, I believe this one goes here. This one goes here. Or did I have it the other way around? I think it goes like that. Yeah, so that's front and front. Okay, so let's put this one on. Making sure the direction's correct. So that's correct there. The butterfly one's pretty too. Oh, such decisions, huh? I think I'm going to go with that. I really like the butterfly. I like the roses too. So it is a hard choice. But look over both sides, and if you like the way the images are showing, go with the one you like that you feel will be what you enjoy, I guess you would say. So that one's there. So that piece is, I didn't give you the measurements. 7 3/8 by, looks like 6 3/8. Let me check my notes. Page set 2 front, pattern paper, 7 3/8 by 6 3/8 here on the bottom, and then this one up here is going to be 6 7/8 wide by 6 7/8 tall. So I'm going to flip this down, and I am going to use this, the B side on this one. And burnish. So that when it closes up, that's how it looks. I like that. So then we drop this one down. I'm going to put this solid piece here. There. So this one I'm going to piece right here. And I'm grab my papers and I'll give you the measurements for that. Okay, so I'll cut these different pieces to piece this page out. So I have one piece that is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 by 5 7/8. So I'm going to glue that one down on the left side of this inside flap. So this goes all the way down here to the bottom and over to the side here, kind of even it out. Okay, right there. So this is one way to utilize some of your scraps that you don't want to cut up more paper. So this one up here goes like this. So this one is 7/8 of an inch tall by 6 7/8 wide. Put it even with this one, kind of at the top there. Okay. Then this piece with the butterflies, 4 inches wide by 4 7/8 tall. Make sure it fits in there right. Okay. Probably could have cut this one just a little bit, maybe a little bit longer. Because this one is 7/8 wide, but I think that's going to work okay. Yeah, 7/8 wide by the 4 inches wide by 7/8 tall. Got to get that in correct for our direction of our pattern paper for our images. So we put this one here. Okay, so that side is pieced here on the inside of the top of the flap. Then we have this piece, and then it's down here. So can you see all that? Kind of hard to show. This comes down, and this one locks down on that. So that is page set 2 on the front. So we're ready to start on the back. For the back of page set 2, just make sure that you have it turned correctly. So this is the back side. This one has 2 flaps. So I have cut the pattern papers for the flaps. set these aside for right now. Open this up. So of course we have the 9 3/8 by 9 3/8, the main section here. And I chose to use this one that says, I love you, ma chérie. That means, I love you, dear, I believe. I think I looked that up. So it doesn't say mother, so because I'm not using the mother and the grandmother words. This one's fine. So that's going to glue right there in the center of the flaps. So go ahead and get those on. Okay. Stand right here. Line it up. Oops, got it too far down. I always do that. If I don't check the top here. Okay. Okay, let's burnish that. So now we have this down, and we've got magnet here, and the ribbon pull goes here, and the magnet goes here on the other side. So let's put this one on. So peel the back. I have the two magnets stuck together, the metal to the metal, sticky sides are out. So I'm going to put this one about right here. I'm thinking there, whoops, this is not going to work. Got to move this one. It's not going to hit the mat, so let's pay attention to that. Let's do this here. Okay, then close the flap, and hopefully it'll pick up. Well, some of my sticky, so I'm going to have to, there we go. So it's going to be a little drop down a little bit, so let's take our clear tape and tape it and double check. Make sure our magnets lining up, so there we go. Then the ribbon pull, got a little bit of ribbon here. Put my little bit of glue, it's kind of centered. I'm going to go ahead and center this here. And then put glue on that. Fold the ribbon in half. Now I have at times forgotten to put a ribbon pull on something, and I've glued it on the outside of my pattern paper, and if you cut it very neatly and get that glue on there and line it up, it really doesn't look that bad. So you can do it, or you could cover it with a little bit of a circle or a half circle of paper or something if you wanted to, like that. So there's that one. So now let me look and see which papers I was going to use. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I've got the magnets on, and I'm going to go ahead and put this piece down. Pay attention to the little lettering in the faded background because you want to make sure it's going on the right direction. And this pattern piece is cut to, let's see, let me check my notes. Right flap 5 7/8 wide by 5 3/8 tall. I'll double check that, make sure we got that right. Oops, that's way too far over. So let's get this on right. Okay, there we go. I think sometimes it's me cutting it sometimes, because there we go. Burnish that right there. Okay. I'll double check that measurement. It is 5 7/8 wide by 5 3/8 tall. With that on that side, and then this side over here is the 5 7/8 wide by 5 7/8 tall. So I'm going to go ahead and put the pattern paper here on the inside, and then we'll do the ones on the front of the flaps. So that closes down, and there is the back side of page set 2, and there's the front. And so you might pull this down, and this one goes up. Isn't that pretty? And then this one the same way goes to the right, and then you open to the left. Okay, so that's page set 2, and next we're ready to move on to page set 3. Front side of page set 3 has this fold out here and this flap here. So we do have this main section here. So this is your 9 3/8 by 9 3/8 piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Okay, so let's line this up in here between the fold lines of the flaps and center it top and bottom. Pretty good. There we go. Thinking maybe I'm cutting it just a little bit shorter than I should, but this is going to work just fine. Here we go. This definitely needs 2 magnet sets, one for here to hold this flap down to this one, and then one here for this flap back here. So I have 2 sets here. Now we open this up. This is folded. So I'm going to peel the backing off of this one, and I'm going to put a magnet about 3/4 of an inch from the edge. I think that will give me plenty of room to catch this over here. We'll see. I hope I don't have to move it. So we close it up and lift. Yeah, that's plenty of room. That's about a 1/2 inch there. I'd like a little bit more, but that will do. So I could have moved this over further, but then that kind of weakens this edge some. So we'll put our tape down. And if you don't have clear Scotch tape, that's no problem. Just put a good coverage of score tape over the magnets, and probably, you know, cover the whole magnet so the whole thing is encased. Oops, got some glue there, but that's okay. So this one closes up. Then we open this flap back this way, and we're going to put a magnet here, about 3/8 of an inch from the edge or so. I think that will work for us. And we close this up and we open it. There we go. And we put tape on those. So there we have our 2 magnet sets on this page, on page set 3 on the front. We do need 2 magnet sets. Now then, we do need 2 ribbon pulls. So open this back up again. And right here, turn it on the side here, we're going to need 1. So I'll put my glue. Go in again, put the glue down. There we go. Kind of in line with the magnet, I decided, not where I had it written down. And so then I put a glue on the top of the ribbon that I just put down and fold in half to get my little ribbon pull. Whoops, want it a little straighter there. Okay, so there's that one. And then we have one on this other side right here. And I'm going to put it here up a little bit higher than what I had initially put down. I don't want it lining up with the other one. I want it here. And then this one's going to go towards the spine of the book. So I may fold this one just a little bit shorter. Right there, just a little bit of a pull right there. I'm going to let this tack down good. Okay, I'm going to open these up so they don't dry onto the pages together, and let these dry. So I've cut the pattern papers like for this one over here, and this size is 6 7/8 wide by 7 7/8 tall for this section here. So here's the one I chose for this one. So let's go ahead and get this one down. And when I get this all patterned, I will count how many full sheets of the pattern paper I used and put that on the supply list. I'm pretty confident it's more than just what comes in a collection. So I'm thinking you're going to need 2 collections to get this whole thing patterned. But I'll keep track and count and we'll see. Burnish right there. I think I need a little bit of glue right in there. I missed that right there. Underneath. Okay, that's better. Don't want a gap there where that magnet is. So burnish that. Okay, and then we open it up and we have the same size again for this inside of the flap. Cut that one a little wide. Oh, that's right. Okay. So let's put the glue on that. Stand up so I can make sure I'm getting this one on right. There we go. Okay, let's burnish this one. Okay, so there's that. And then this will close down over it. So let's open this flap up so that we can add our pattern paper correctly. I'm wanting this one right here. So these are cut. You want 4 of them. And they are cut at 3 7/8 wide by 9 3/8 tall. Go ahead and put these down. Okay, so this folds back that way, and there's page set 3, the front. So this, we have the short pull here to indicate that we pull up there, and then we have this one here to pull this way, and then our flap flips. Okay, so now we're ready for the back of page set 3. So here we are with page set 3 on the back. So just again, make sure you are got it going the right direction. You don't want anything upside down. Okay, and then we turn it over. So we have our main piece already cut. And I'm going to go with this one. This is the back of the grandmother page. And it's 9 3/8 by 9 3/8. So let's get the glue. All right, line it up between the section over the hinges of the flaps. Make sure they're folding. Okay, burnish it down. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put, let's see, the pattern paper on the inside here. So let me look at that. That's that part there. The front piece, and that's the front piece. So these are the really plain on the border or cut apart sheet. So this is going to go right here on the inside, and this is going to go right down here on the bottom. So you have two pieces of this, one for the front and one for the inside, and two pieces of this one for the front and one for the inside. So this one is 4 3/8 by 9 3/8. And then this one is 3 3/8 by 7 7/8. We're going to glue those in. Okay, this piece. Okay, let me think a minute. Make sure, yes, that's correct. Didn't want to glue anything down before I put my magnets or my ribbon pull. So I've got those marked. I'll show you just a second where I marked them. Okay. So this closes up like this. We have a magnet that goes here. Then we have this piece that we're adding on. And so a magnet and the ribbon pull is going to go on the back of this. We're not ready for this yet. This one we set aside. This one we're going to go ahead and put down. Okay, so I forgot to hit the camera. We had glued this one down, and we have this one glued down, the measurements. The next thing I did was took this 4x6 piece. Originally I was going to put it the other way, but I found this piece of pattern paper that I like, so I turned it. So I marked at about 1 inch from the edge on the back side where my glue goes, and glued this down on top of this patterned piece here that I added. And then I've attached the magnets to this flap and to this side. So I apologize that I don't show me actually doing it, but it's the same way as we've done before. So there's the magnets, and I need to put a little more glue right here. We don't want this flap coming up. Burnish that down. Okay, so we've got the magnet there. Now I'm going to put my ribbon pull. So here to the back side where the magnet is, right here on the edge, I'm just going to put some glue again. About a 2.5 inch piece of ribbon or so. Attach that down, put glue on top, and then fold in half so that it's sticking out, and line it up. Okay, there we go. So I have this piece here that I've already cut, and it is 2 7/8 wide by 5 7/8 tall. So this goes down over the magnet. Here. Okay, burnish that. So there's that one, and then we want to also put a piece here. So this is the same size that we cut for the other side, but I'll repeat it for you. This is 3 3/8 wide by 7 7/8 tall. So this goes down over the magnet here. Okay, making sure of my direction here, my numbers. These are little numbers that I want to make sure that you can read them. Okay, burnish that one down. And you might have to burnish a little more if your magnet is real close there. And I may have to put just a little bit more glue on that edge right there and burnish it down. Okay. So just want to make sure there's no gap there. Okay, so that closes up. That. And then we have this piece here that goes here, and it is cut, since this is a 4x6, it's 3 7/8 by 5 7/8. So it's going to go right there. Okay, and line it up. Finish this off. Oops. Okay, and burnish. Oops, it's a little too far over here. Quickly lift it up and move it. If there's not enough glue, then I'll have to re-glue it. But I was able to move it. I think the texture of Country Craft Creations exclusive paper allows a little wiggle room for actual moving with the glue. I mean, it dries and it sticks on really good, but I think that the material that it's made out of allows you a little extra time. So there's that one. So that's the back of page set 3. And we'll be continuing on with page set 4.